Somewhere tonight, an algorithm quietly solved a scientific riddle older than the internet. No headlines, no tweets, no press release. Yet that silent line of code just changed how long you'll live, how your city breathes, and how your mind learns. While the world obsessed over chatbots writing poetry and AI portraits going viral, 5 hidden revolutions unfolded in plain sight. Transformations so deep they're rewriting humanity's source code right now. They didn't trend. They didn't trend because they were too big to notice. In the last 10 years, AI stopped performing for social media likes and started rebuilding civilization's foundations. This is the story you were never supposed to scroll past. 5 seismic breakthroughs. 0 fanfare. This is the invisible decade, the era when machines stopped pretending to think and quietly began to understand. What you're about to hear will make AI art look like finger painting beside the real revolution. Humanity built machines to entertain us, to answer questions, to make cool demos for conferences. But behind the curtain, in labs and data centers most people will never see, something far quieter and far stranger began to unfold. The public face of artificial intelligence, chatbots, art generators, self-driving cars, became the theater, the spectacle. While we debated whether AI could replace writers or painters, the real revolution happened offstage. Neural networks started teaching themselves to reason, invent, and coordinate at scales our civilization depends on, but barely understands. This is a paradox of our era. We're witnesses to the most profound technological transformation in history, yet most of it remains invisible, not because it's secret, but because it's infrastructural, like electricity. It vanishes into usefulness. Over the next few minutes, you'll discover 5 breakthroughs quietly rewriting the human story. AI that learns to reason instead of just calculate. AI that invents science on its own. AI that trains itself in synthetic worlds we can't imagine. AI that reads and responds to emotion. And AI that coordinates the hidden machinery of cities and nations. Each one bend the arc of possibility a little higher. And all 5 together form what scientists now call the invisible decade. By the end of this video, you'll see why these unseen systems may be shaping your life more than any device in your hand. Let's begin the heart of the story. The 5 invisible revolutions that already reshaped everything. First, neurosymbolic fusion, when logic met intuition. For decades, AI lived in 2 worlds. Neural networks could detect patterns but couldn't explain themselves. Symbolic system could reason logically but froze when faced with messy reality. In 2025, researchers finally fused them. The result is AI that doesn't just predict. It explains. It reads a legal contract and tells you why a clause is risky. It designs new medicines and points out the chemistry that makes them viable. For the first time, machines are thinking about their own thinking. Second, autonomous discovery engines. AI that invents science. Imagine a scientist that never sleeps, never takes weekends, and can run 1,000 experiments at once. These engines generate their own hypotheses, design and run experiments, and interpret their results. They've already created new materials and drug molecules in weeks instead of decades. The next breakthrough drug may have no human discovery at all, just an algorithm buried in a lab log. Third, synthetic data universes. AI raising its own children. Real data is scarce, biased, and full of privacy risks. So AI started inventing its own. Synthetic environments simulate infinite edge cases, car crashes, diseases, weather extremes. So machines can train safely on worlds that don't exist. By 2030, most AI training data will be synthetic, meaning machines will learn from imaginary worlds before they ever face ours. Fourth, emotional modeling AI. Machines that feel, though not how we do. These systems analyze tone, expression, rhythm, and sentiment to respond with uncanny emotional accuracy. They're in hospitals, schools, and customer service lines, translating human emotion into actionable data. They don't feel empathy, yet people find comfort in them because they never tire, never judge, never hurt. Fifth, autonomous coordination systems. The hive mind infrastructure. Thousands of AI agents now manage power grids, traffic networks, logistics, and disaster response. They trade data like neurons firing, making millions of micro-decisions per second so that cities flow, lights stay on, and chaos stays contained. Together, these 5 breakthroughs don't just advance technology, they quietly rewrite civilization's DNA. Here's the crest of the wave, the moment when all 5 breakthroughs converge into one reshaping force. We call it innovation, but what's actually happening is evolution. Each of these systems, reasoning, discovering, imagining, empathizing, coordinating, was built for utility. Yet together, they're producing something far more profound, an emergent intelligence woven to the fabric of daily life. Think about it. When neurosymbolic reasoning makes decisions transparent, autonomous discovery amplifies what we can know, synthetic universes accelerate learning beyond reality, emotional modeling softens a human-machine boundary, and coordination systems thread through everything from power lines to hospitals. You get a civilization that thinks collectively. Your city learns to prevent grid failures before they start. Medical AIs share insights faster than any research consortium. Entire supply chains anticipate need instead of reacting to shortages. Humanity has built a planetary nervous system and, almost by accident, switched it on. But this is also the inflection point. Every gain in autonomy reduces our visibility. Every layer of coordination hides complexity behind efficiency. We're no longer programming instructions. We're setting intentions and watching as the machine ecosystem fills in the details. That's the quiet shock hiding in the data, the moment the tools became counterparts, not extensions. A silent partnership between human judgment and synthetic intelligence. This is the major payoff. The revelation that the invisible decade isn't about flashy AI tricks. It's about integration, so smooth we stopped noticing the moment machines started sharing responsibility for how the world works. Look back at what's just unfolded. 5 breakthroughs. No headlines. No drama. Just a quiet rewriting of how our world thinks, learns, and feels. While we were busy arguing about jobs, art, and copyright, the foundations changed beneath our feet. The code that runs society began updating itself, and we barely glanced up from our screens. The lesson isn't fear, it's awareness. Power without visibility is the most dangerous kind, and right now, that power hums inside systems we never voted for, never met, and already depend on. But this isn't a dystopia. It's a crossroads. We can still choose how we collaborate with this new intelligence, how transparent, humane, and accountable we make it. The future isn't automated or human. It's both intertwined. Because that's what the invisible decade really is. The merging of human intention and machine capability into one shared ecosystem. The next story dives into what comes next, the hidden risks that bind all 5 breakthroughs, and how we can steer them before the invisible decade becomes the irreversible one. You've just glimpsed the most important transformation in human history, and most people still haven't noticed. Subscribe to stay ahead of the curve, because understanding the future is the first step to shaping it.